As the lead orchestrator of Dynamedion, I check all the scores and parts before the orchestral sessions. Sometimes composers just send me their scores and they are pretty much final, and I check and optimize them. Other times they want to save time or they are not used to do it themselves, and then I just prepare the scores from their MIDI and from their mock-up. Yeah, that's what I pretty much do. I'm also the session manager, and I have to do the time schedule for those recordings. And the big challenge is that we have got different kinds of music. So it's symphonic music, film music, video game music, and we've got contemporary composers. So it's very different music, and sometimes it's very fast to record it. Other times it takes a bit longer, and we have to plan ahead. We have to know this one is a bit special, and we have to we must have more time for it.
If you want to record classical music, you want a warm and compact sound. For soundtrack recordings, you prefer a wider and brighter sound, maybe more direct and crispy. To achieve this sound, of course, the orchestra has to know how to play this kind of music and how to make it sound Hollywood-like. And then we have experimented a lot with different microphone types and microphone positions. We only use microphones from Schöps and Neumann to get the sound our customers like. Usually an orchestra recording for a game soundtrack is part of a bigger arrangement. So many composers want to combine the recording with samples with drum loops or other solo instruments. First of all, we need a metronome click. Every musician has a headphone to play in the right tempo. Then, most sample players are tuned in 440 Hz, but an orchestra is playing in 442 or even 43 Hz. Of course, we could tune down all instruments, but that would result in a dull sound. So we have to cheat a bit with clock and sample rate to fix this problem.
The most important thing for me is to figure out the idea, the concept of the music, the basic intention of the composer. I think about how to best bring this intention to life. If you think about it, when we record music for a game soundtrack, this music is the only completely human part within the whole game. So what I try is to bring the most human feeling and emotion to it. What else has to be done? Of course, I analyze the score and see if there are some special difficulties in the parts. Then, before recording, I briefly practice these passages with the musicians. A special factor, especially when conducting a recording session, is that besides all, I always have to keep in mind the energy level of the musicians. For instance, there might be a passage for a section that is physically quite demanding. In that case, I cannot let them play it over and over again, but let them play another passage instead and come back to the difficult part later on, when they have recovered their strengths. For me, it's always interesting to get to know new compositions. I actually do a lot of crossover projects, so I really like the fact that so many different musical styles come together in an open session. In only 3 days, we sometimes record music for games, soundtracks for film, pop songs, classical, symphonic standards, or contemporary concert music. The composers come from many different countries and therefore many different cultural backgrounds. Every composer has his or her own musical language, and therefore every piece has its very own challenges. So open sessions also give me the possibility to broaden my own musical horizon.